Hey everybody, it's Mark with the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, here with another run video. Want to remind you can join Mino and myself every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time, although moving close, it's going to be Central Standard Time as we switch it up. So be aware of that. After the 4th, November 4th, it will be the next Thursday. I think that's the 11th. That will be Central Standard Time. But for all your DFFOO news and talk, we are live on Twitch and YouTube. And then you can watch it on Twitch Video On Demand, YouTube right here, or on your favorite podcast app and listen to it as a podcast. Hashtag it's a podcast. This is a run video. I'll get to that in a second. For the Mission Dungeon Lufenia plus Illusory Lighthouse? Illusory? Is that how they said it? Anyway, it's the Lighthouse from Final Fantasy 12. Actually, one of my favorite parts of Final Fantasy 12. I really like this dungeon. This was a fun one. But a couple different ways to do this. First of all, like, sub, ring the bell for notification, follow us, join our Discord. You're struggling with this fight, this Lufenia Plus and Shulk's Lufenia Plus. I think both very challenging. I think probably two of the hardest ones, and then I think we're going to be okay until about Shiva. I think Shiva is really tough as well. They are doable. They are very doable, but it can be a real pain in the ass. So I'll walk through it here. This one's, I think the Shulky one's a little bit more annoying, but this one annoying as well. But if you're struggling, join our Discord. A lot of help. We have a GL help strategy section, and we have a thread for every single Lufenia Plus. You can check out people's runs. DissidiaFFOO.com. Our friend Macnell, Scott, Ong, they usually put some guides together that are excellent. Excalibur usually does an infographic. Destrop's been doing infographics with some different run ideas, and so a lot of great resources out there if you are struggling. So this is the ghost fight, the ghost brothers. So, you can't target the middle one until the two are dead. The orb is a break orb. You need to break him. Or no, you either need to break him or do sap. And so you see I used Gabron's Call because he can't evade Gabron's Call because Gabron comes in with that. So Gabron's Call has that sap immediately on there. So if he does take a turn, he is getting hit with the sap, which is really nice. Or you need to break up. If you can confuse or paralyze the boss after the two ads are gone, he will not be able to summon again. And they basically he summons the middle, the B, summons every time the ads die. So that can be really annoying and can be a really slog of a fight. You're not necessarily supposed to cheese it. I believe Squix Joshua referred to this method as cheese. And so people are bringing in, this is not the method I'm using. I think the easiest method is the Agrius method. Agrius can basically stun lock the boss, and so he can't resummon. And so, with stun and paralyze, as long as every time the boss takes an action, he is stunned or confused, or paralyzed, he will not be able to re-up. So that's one major strategy. There are several, but that's kind of a major strategy. Bring some good damage, some turn delay, and Agrius, and you can manage the boss. I brought the double Sid Reigns Vayne method. You can do it without Vayne, but I think Vayne makes it a little bit easier. Although this took me quite a few resets to get right because orb management becomes an issue at the end of the fight, as you'll see. So the thresholds of this fight, the boss jumps, right? So at 79%, 59%, and 39%, the boss will jump, and generally speaking, that's when the boss would then resummon the ads, regardless of how long you've delayed everything else. The boss warps at those thresholds and resummons. Cannot resummon if they are stunned or whatever. So you'll notice I only have one stun. And the reason I only have one stun is because I'm going to break past 3 of those thresholds. So I'm going to do that with Sid Reigns, double Sid Reigns. So you need to do all of that damage basically from 80% of its health to 39% of its health. And to be able to do that, you need to be able to do that in launch summon with double Sid Reigns, and you need to be very, very aggressive. Obviously, you see I have Bart's here. I have Cait Sith Call on Bart's, and Bart's is going to be full stack, Cait Sith Call, and I'm going to have double Reigns, and of course I have some Gabranza doing some damage up there. Shantoto is going to be doing some defense down once I put Shantoto's Call on, and Cait Sith is just doing that crazy crit damage and recovery up, so that's really awesome. So you need to do all of that damage basically in the summon phase. You don't want to bring him, before you summon, you don't want to bring him down below 80%, because then he'll immediately take a turn, resummon the ads, or burn through one of your stun uses, because I'm only rocking one stun, so only one paralyzed for Shantoto. I think it's been a little while since I've done this. This is a recording, of course, of the fight. I always record the fights and then add audio afterwards because I play it on my phone. I don't play it on BlueStacks. So, yeah, there we go. So I'm using Shantoto LD. That's going to put the stun on. It is a 2-turn stun, which is nice, I think. Or maybe it's just 1 turn. Yeah, no, there's the stun right there. But it does the defense down, which does help a little bit as well. And so now I'm going to turn swap. But again, I'm not going to summon until I get to 80%. Then you summon, and then you do as much damage. You spam LD, LD, LD. You know, Bart's only needs 1 more turn, because Bart's is going to get his 3rd stack here. And Bart's is going to use Cait Sith's Call. And so I'm going to be able to do massive damage in a short amount of time. But yeah, do be careful, because if you play this wrong, you're going to knock him into the threshold, and then you're going to burn your stun. Again, this is one strategy. This is not, I don't think this is the easiest strategy. I think using Agrius just to play safe is fine. You can play the actual fight where you let him resummon the ads, and you have to kill the ads, and you have to make sure he has turns. The best way to do that is with, it's really with Feign BT plus, but then you do need some sap, poison kind of stuff. So make sure that you're bringing that. So that you can manage the orb that way by giving the boss some turns. But there are some creative runs with this. But if you, this takes about 15 minutes to do it this way. Using Agrius, you're talking 20 minutes actually fighting the actual fight. It's more like a 30-minute fight. And the problem with that is you can still come into issues with orb management at the very end of the fight and end up, playing for 30 minutes and then blowing the fight and having to do it again. And so it's I'm not a big fan of that. I think that's just too long. And so I don't really think the Agrius, the stun confuse method, or the double Reigns method is cheesing. I think this fight and the Shulk fight were a little too... I think the core mechanics of the fight are good and interesting, but I think they went 1 or 2 steps too far. We're going to talk about that on the podcast. Be episode 173. If you're checking it out later and you want to kind of walk through the entire podcast, or kind of, mine and Minot's kind of interpretation of these fights, because it can really be, they could have been good fights. I like the idea behind the fights. I really do think they added 1 too many mechanics, or the orbs were just a little too hard to manage, or a little too pain in the butt. So you're going to see here, I'm going to drop him below, below that 39. So he missed the 79% threshold. He missed the 59% threshold. He missed the 39% threshold. So I jumped through all 3 thresholds. So he's just going to jump turns once. He's going to be paralyzed and will not be able to resummon the ads. But at this point, it's going to be about managing the orb. So now we've gone from managing the resummons. So he's not going to resummon, actually go down to 29%, which is awesome. So you see he jumps, Jumps again. That may be a little bit of a cheat. When the boss wasn't dead. So, but now the orb is up. I got 10 turns. If I give him a turn, he will immediately resummon. So, because I don't have any more paralyzes, so I can't give him a turn. So that means every time I break him, he will not tick down. But if I don't break him, he will tick down. And now he can't be, at this point, he cannot be launched. He's launch immune. So I believe he's launch immune. So so Sid Reigns isn't doing anything at all for me right now. So what I do need to do is get Vayne back in, and I need to burst with Vayne and bum rush with Vayne. And even at 27%, it's tight, man. It's tight. So I believe, do I immediately burst? No, I think I have. I may misplay. I misplay Vayne in the Shulk fight terribly. It's very unfortunate how bad I play Vayne in the Shulk fight. You can check that out here in a minute. But yeah, so I think I don't immediately burst because every time I'm using a plus skill and force of will, the orb will not tick down. But contempt, the orb will tick down, I believe. EX, the orb will not tick down because I think that's a unbreak break. Yeah, so you see the orb ticks down with contempt. The orb would tick down with mock wave. But the orb will not tick down unless at the very end you're going to see something that's funny. So because of the some of the things wearing off right now, I've got Gabrant's call ability, and then I'm going to get the BT effect as well. But Sid Reigns is not adding anything to my Vayne damage, so my Vayne damage is not great at this point. And once I let, I should have just gone all in at this point. I don't know that I do or not. Yeah, because I have 2 contempts left. I have the burst left. I don't know why I didn't burst at this point. Because you really don't want Cait Sith's. Thing to fall off. Yeah, I'm not really sure why I didn't burst at this. That was my bad. I don't know that I let Bartz get another turn. Bartz has 2 turns to take, so that's fine. But yeah, you're seeing even, I'm not doing any brave damage, right? And so once he ticks back up, once he recovers brave, it's not good. It's not ideal. You got 95 turns. So my 20 turns is not an issue. I think I was checking for health right there. Yeah. So I'm not really sure that I should have let Bartz take an action at this point, because now Bartz's AA just wore off, and it doesn't seem like a big deal, but I'm doing ones. With everything going on, I'm doing ones. And so look at, he's regaining brave because I'm not breaking him. And now I'm not breaking him, so his orb is not ticking up. His orb would be ticking up. And I think the AA, I think that dumb AA, that was it. I think that was the make or break. And yeah, so I almost blew this run because as you can see, I didn't realize that what was happening. I wasn't paying attention, and so he's recovering brave, and I am doing 1 brave damage every time I hit. So this is really, really bad. Now I'm still doing damage, so I mean it's not like I'm not doing damage. I'm still doing damage, but the issue is the orb is not ticking up, and the orb ideally should have been ticking up in the burst phase. And so I really, I should not have given Bartz another turn. There was no reason for me to give Bartz another turn with the number of contempts I had, and the burst. I mean, you got 10 turns of Vayne's burst. So, yeah, and now Vayne doesn't get an action. So I mean, it's just, yeah. Although Sid Reigns probably was able to do a little bit more damage, so that probably helped me here. Yeah, that probably helped with orb management. But yeah, there was no reason I should have bursted immediately after the summon was done. There was no reason not to burst as soon as he came back in with 10 turns. Yeah, he burns through it quick, but think that's how much extra damage, 50,000 extra damage. So yeah, ended up with so poor management there, but poor management, but 22 turns. clear. So let me know how you did. Let me know what you brought. If you're struggling, hey, join our Discord. Tons of great people to help, and we'll be happy to help you. We'll talk about this fight on episode 173, which we'll record on the 4th if you're watching this later here on YouTube and also on Twitch and on your favorite podcast apps. Until next time, friends, make sure you like, sub, ring the bell, and we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.